We are the Association of Nigerian Private Medical Practitioners.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we'll put our hands together for Dr. ALIYU, former Minister of State for Health, to make his remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the former Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, my boss and father, distinguished Senator Ken Inamani, GCON and chairman of this very important occasion, Secretary to Government of the Federation in absentia, the Governor of Ekiti State, ably represented by my brother, the Honorable Commissioner, my personal brother and comrade, leader, the President of LNC, Comrade Ayuba Waba, my President and President of this very important Association of Private Medical Practitioners in Nigeria, very eminent personalities here present, members of this very important association, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Sir, I want to share the views of the president of LNC, because these issues we are discussing here is cross-cutting, because it is health, it is about health financing. So we have loved to have seen central bank and commercial banks here. We have loved to see maybe finance ministry here, because they are the policy makers. And also health is not just a social issue now, it is a business issue. So it will not have been too much to ask for Minister of Trade and Industry to be here or his representative, because we want to have a solid foundation for funding healthcare system in Nigeria. Let me quickly congratulate the association on this centenary, because it is not easy to be a centennial-old association. Just like the chairman of the occasion have said, keeping together is very difficult, especially in Nigeria, because you find people coming together to form all manner of association. After a day or two, there is disagreement and they have fallen apart. But you have stuck together and stick together, and you are still waxing very strong. Congratulations for this very important milestone. I also want to say that we need to congratulate the members of this association, because truly speaking, after being a minister of health, I have the indices, I know what is going in this country. Conservatively, the healthcare provision of this country, minimum provided by the members of this association, 50% and above of the members of this country access healthcare delivery through the private practitioner at every level of this country. So without them, you could see conspicuously that government will have been in a major crisis without the private practitioners. So you have done very well in helping government doing its work and also helping the population of this country. I am very much concerned to come here because I share the vision of the organizers of this roundtable, because what we are seeing today, we need to change a paradigm for funding health system or the approach to health system. Governments have already said only sponsored healthcare, maybe 30, 50% from the state to the federal government to the local government level. So the remaining part of the population access healthcare through private care, and the doctors that provide this healthcare have not been taken into cognizance, maybe through grant, subsidy, or cheaper financing for them to establish and develop their contribution to the health sector of this country. I was worried and concerned more, especially with the advent of this COVID-19 pandemic and the way it totally grounds the whole world. All of us are witnesses that no matter how wealthy and how resourceful you are, if you are unfortunate to have been very sick in the past 1 year plus, if you are not lucky enough, you will have been dead by now, because those who think that healthcare accessing is outside the country, even if you have the citizenship of those countries, there is no available flight to those countries. For those who have the resources, if you have the means to get the flight, you don't have visa because those countries have closed their boundaries, so there is no entry no matter the emergencies. Even if you have the means for you to go there, the protocol required for you to move is so enormous to an extent, by the time when you finish, you are already dead. We are all witnesses to that in this current pandemic. So I think it is in the interest of Nigeria and in the interest of government for us to look inward. How do we support our own indigenous capacity? How do we augment the existing effort of the private sector so that at least they will close the gap of this health tourism that is always going out of the country, apart from it helping the country in providing employment and providing healthcare to the country. We will also save foreign exchange, especially in this very serious financial challenge of the country. Conservatively, Nigeria spends minimum of $1 billion per annum for them to access healthcare in the form of health tourism. So if we are able to retain that amount of money, I wonder which type of economy will have been added to the country, the safety of the patients, and also, most importantly, the employment it will generate in the country. So, sir, let me convey my message to government through the chairman of this occasion, who will have access to the governor of the central bank and minister of finance and the SGF, that government have to deliberately create a private hospital funding fund. If it is not a bank, it should be created a special fund so that the private hospital can access. I didn't say healthcare foundation or fund, because if you say healthcare, the pharmacists and the other sector who are already businessmen will come and scoop the money before the doctors and the hospital realize it. So this money should be specifically for the development and promotion and expansion of private health hospitals in the country. It's not asking for too much, because they are doing the work for government, they are doing the work for Nigerian population. The good thing with Nigeria is that we have the population and we have the purchasing power. If you are able to provide the standard of the healthcare facilities that is available all over the world, apart from Nigerians being able to pay for it, there is also the possibility of the sister countries in the West African coast will have the possibility of coming into the country to access healthcare here, which will expand our economy in the country. Just like Mr. Chairman have said, and also the president of the association, sir, I have in the course of my life worked in a private hospital. It's not easy to build a hospital. It's not easy to run a private hospital. Most of the doctors you see here, sir, work minimum of 16 to 20 hours per day to keep the hospital running. Because even if you have the hospital, most of the people that goes to the hospital goes for the doctors. And if the doctor is not there, people will not come. So they suffer a lot and they don't have their own life. So what do? We need to have this cheap capital, because just like everyone have said, you cannot recoup the investment in healthcare in 2-3 years like the other type of investment that you go and invest and recoup your investment in 5 years. To build a hospital, if you are going to do the work properly, you require like 20 to 30 to 50 years for you to have recoup your investment before you look for a profit. So there is need and the understanding that government have to support this initiative to create either a health bank or specifically hospitals development fund, so that doctors can access to expand their hospitals, so that doctors can access the facility for fiscal infrastructure, upgrade their equipment, and retrain their human capital so that they will provide the type of facility that we are all going outside the country to access. Everyone have said the Nigerian health workers are well trained anywhere. That is why you go to America, you go to Saudi, you go to Europe, even the UK, where our trainers, you find significant number of their health manpower from Nigerian population. So if you are able to provide this window, I have every confidence that most of the doctors in the diaspora will also come back here and establish facility and provide that type of state-of-the-art facility and augment the support of the existing members here. So, sir, we are very passionate about this. What we are pleading is not asking for too much, because we are asking to save ourselves. May God save us from another pandemic again. If another pandemic came again, you will find out that even if you are president or you are minister or governor, you can't move an inch. So it is in your interest to make sure that this system here works, so that you don't need visa, you don't need aircraft to travel, you can access health. Secondly, I want to also advise doctors in the private sector. Apart from you doing social work, you are now businessmen. So develop your business model so that when you approach a financing agency, they know that this is a business model, this is an investment that they are going to get their investment from. It is not a charity work like most of us are thinking. So develop yourself properly like businessmen, and also have your work plan properly so that if you are going to apply, I am aware that the central bank sometimes awarded about 100 billion naira for healthcare funds. Before you say Jack Robinson, the pharmacists and the pharmaceutical companies have went and scooped the money. Actually, they require more than that. But because they are businessmen, they are fast, they were able to get their papers and documentation ready, they were able to access the money. Well, doctors were struggling to do up and down. Before they went there, the money has finished. So now we want a hospital development fund. To be conservative, sir, we need a minimum of $1 billion in 5 years annually that will be accessed for this hospital. And secondly, sir, thirdly, the agency should also compartmentalize themselves. Each zone should have a specialist center around the teaching hospitals and the Federal Medical Center, so that each center, which is a center of excellence, should develop similar type of private arrangement and in collaboration with the private sector and the teaching hospital and the government facility, so that they will augment the manpower and also the facility. If you travel abroad, you will find out that you cannot distinguish which one are you dealing. Is it a private hospital or is it a government hospital? Because certain time you will be in a teaching hospital, or certain time you are in a private hospital, or you are in a private hotel facility where you are being accommodated. In the same way, you are in a private facility, but a doctor from a teaching hospital will be invited to come and see you in a private facility. When it is beyond, then they will shift you to the teaching hospital seamlessly without anything happening. So there is need for us to develop this type of template here. And finally, also, I want to say, apart from us getting center of excellences at every level, there is need for the doctors that are running private hospitals to identify their strengths and their weaknesses, identify what they need to do, so that by the time when you get the funding and augment your strength, you will be able to say, if we say we need a cardiac center, that in 30 minutes, if you are able to be transported, they will put a stent in you and save you from cardiac arrest. That is the type of efficiency that we are talking about. If you have a cancer, it is not the old type of treatment. The doctors will treat you very aggressively the way, because the difference between our teaching treatment here and abroad is that when you go abroad, they deal in the state-of-the-art facility for the investigation. They give you the latest drug and give you at generous prescription. Unlike here, because of maybe financing or cost and go, people are looking. No, we have to have that, because if people are willing to pay, you should give them the best. So I think it is in the interest of the private practitioners to make sure that we now see ourselves as business people. We should forget about when we were seeing ourselves as social providers or charity organizations. If you want to survive, build a template. So, sir, Mr. President, please go and talk on behalf of our colleagues to the governor of the central bank. He is a very forward-looking and visionary leader. I am surprised he has not been able to be invited to this program. If he was here, he would share these visions we are talking about. But convey this information to him. He should collaborate with the commercial banks to make sure that private doctors that are applying for funds access funding. When we are saying less than a unit of the interest rate, actually for doctors, because it is a social concern, they should access funding less than 5%. Less than 5%, because they can't charge like you go to 5-star hotel and they tell you you pay anyhow. No. The patients are already, by the time when they come, they are challenged and the economy is going down. So normally they are a bit careful about how they charge. They are doing contribution to the country. So, sir, please talk to government, talk to central banks specifically, who is very forward-looking, and share this type of vision, because he has created different type of funding system for special intervention in agriculture, industrial development, and all manner of type of funds. This hospital one is important, just like you were saying. Apart from air and food, health is the next most important thing you need as a human being. So there is need. We are not asking for too much when we say we want him to create a health hospital development fund, so that existing hospitals should access funds to upgrade their facility, to upgrade their teachings and their human capital, and also new entrants should access funds to develop state-of-the-art facilities, so that when we are facing another challenge like the pandemic, God save us from it in the future, we will have no fear to be apprehensive about movement. Thank you very much, and I wish us all a happy celebration.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Greatest measure of a nation's wealth is the health of her people.